All right, here we are in game one of a best of three series between High in the red, Celestial here, and star of tonight's stream is Elf in the blue Infernals. And we've seen lots of Infernal tonight. We're going to see our first Infernal versus Celestial. And of course, Celestial is Imba. Well, okay, that's just what I hear from some of the Infernals out there. That Celestials are pretty good. Of course, Celestials say that Infernals are Imba, so one of those teams has to be wrong. And in fact, it's possible that both are wrong. And it's in fact true that these two factions are perfectly balanced, as all things should be. We've got a Hexen coming in to scout the prism and the collection array, but not doing any harass. Just walking to a safe space and teleporting out. Meanwhile, High's got his arc ship all the way across the map with a morph core shooting some trees. What did those trees ever do to you? But yeah, we've got a speed boost on the arc ship so it can actually fly. Or we got a surge. The surge power top bar ability allows the arc ship to fly farther and faster, I should say. And these gaunts. Oh, and another morph core popping out. Meanwhile, this morph core, I'm not sure what it's doing. Is that a scout morph core? I know we're told that's what they're for, but oh, and I like that the morph core changing into a creation chamber just to avoid getting taken out. Now this one is also going to hide into the high ground here or into the off the map territory to just say, buzz off. I need to heal up. This creation chamber though. Now trying to create something. What are you trying to create? An Argent. Of course, that's most likely what we're going to see created there. Because this is going to go down. It's already at half health. I don't know if a single Argent's going to be able to save it. And yeah, the Argent was queued out of that creation chamber instead. So we're going to see this creation chamber going down. So even though the Morph Core was able to save itself by turning into a creation chamber, the creation chamber only was able to pump out one Argent before it had to go down. But we have another creation chamber back home, pumped out a second Argent, and now we're getting that second creation chamber back up. So High is recovering okay to that. I'm not sure what that initial push was, but those gaunts that came out and spotted the arc ship and the morph core was enough to kind of mess up whatever that initial plan was. And having chased those units around the map, it means Elf's been able to get a nice little creeping army up here. And while she goes for her first creep camp, she's having no problem with it now because her unit, she's got way more units than she normally does. That's usually a good feeling as long as you're not behind in the creeping. You can now creep a little bit easier, no micro, for instance, not having to micro these units here. Not having to deal with multiple dash abilities from the Shadow Masses, so just makes things a little bit easier from the micro standpoint, meaning back home you can macro a little better. And we see a ritual chamber going down back here as well as a shrine. That's our vault over there hiding in the corner. And now Elf's heading out to creep the Shadow Demons, while Argents from High are heading out to the health camp. And we do have a Guardian Nexus being added. No research, it looks like, queued up at the moment, but allowing High to build Kree as well as Argent, which can be a good early, and that's what we see. So I said no research going down. That's because the rollout research is already finished. And we have Elf Scompball trying to get here, but one goal going down to that first volley. There's a single Kree on the map, which of course is good against the Gaunts. And I think we see High just moving back there to try and make sure that Elf's army is not positioning itself or moving up the ramp before finishing off this creep camp. And more creeping out here from Elf. So Elf is getting a little bit of advantage in the creep income, which is pretty standard, especially in this matchup where Celestials are almost forced to go into a early expand opening with their morph core, first morph core, and that slows down their unit production and means their creeping is always going to be behind the Infernal, who tends to open with a Vault or Conclave first every time. At least that's the current meta. Creeping her own health cap last. And again, I like this kind of change to the meta. Maybe the reason, not just because maybe you're more injured at the end of your creeping cycle, but also because it tends to be closer to home, it's just sort of a safer camp that you're probably reassured your opponent's not going to go out and get. So you might as well leave it to the end and creep it last. We're getting a little bit of conflict over this speed camp. Lots of rushing around from high, but just so many more units out of elf that, yeah, high maybe decides I'm going to move back, take out this farm. A lot of tree here, doing nice damage to that. One creep getting caught behind and actually being taken out. Nice little surround there from the fiends. Now the Kree are actually really good against Fiend and Gaunts, but not so good against the Brutes. Not exactly terrible, and we see a nice little run by these Fiends to get on top of those Gaunts, shredding those Gaunts. The other tree out here kind of tanking the Brutes, but it looks like despite some good micro from high, Elf is able to come out on top there, and the Plague Axes doing what they do when creating a small little fiend force. Or by small, I should say large. It looks like there's close to a dozen fiends there. And the single Kree who was saying, I'm just healing over here. I was sitting in the sauna, taken out. Dead. Deaded. More Kree coming to try and maybe revenge their fallen brethren, but not wanting to move into that whole army and move back to their safety of their base and their power banks. Now it's Elf's turn to soak in the healing juices. This poor brute did not get the memo and was like, where am I supposed to be standing? Unfortunately, didn't get the healing. This Kree trying to take the vision camp. And awkward sort of split on the army there due to the pathing. And those brutes ran the opposite way, getting attacked by the Kree, but even though the Kree are able to roll in on some of these vulnerable units, I just don't think there's quite enough here. Now, what do I know? They're actually doing some great damage to those Gaunts in the back, cleaning that up pretty well. It's those brutes at the front that managed to survive. One Weaver marching into the battle, trying to yank one of those Kree down, and now those three remaining weak Kree rolling their way back home. Going back to that arc ship, get some of that sweet healing.
An honorable end.
It was an honorable end, I agree. And these, this army's starting to grow back up again, even though a lot of those Gaunts and Fiends were taken out earlier. And it looks like we're going to do a little bit more glitchy, well, it's not glitching this time. I was going to say glitchy creeping, but I guess when you have melee units, you can't glitch them out quite as well. Or you can, but not if you want your melee units to be part of the DPS. Kree out here trying to clear up some of the vision from these effigies, but interesting choice here. Brutes behind Gaunts. That's not usually what you want. And so a few Gaunts going down to those Kree, but again, not enough Kree. These Kree are not being able to get up to a big enough number to really compete against this ground force. Trying to get on top of this Hellborn, the squishy little Hellborn, but Hellborn are heavy, so they don't take bonus damage against the Kree. That one Hellborn, that one Weaver, but maybe Elf's just trying to regroup her army here. Oh, a nice effigy up here. That's a permanent effigy, so she can get back up there and regen all that Shroud skin. And it might as well get a little bit of income while you're up here. Recapture this camp. No reason necessarily to push into this yet, not knowing how many blast nodes and strike nodes there are up there, for instance, and knowing that she's been making pretty good trades on these Kree. I think we're going to need a tech switch. Well, we do have a Starforge here. Nothing coming out of it yet. Another Starforge again. Nothing coming out of it yet. And Legion Halls. but nothing coming out of them yet, it looks like. So High interested in doing that tech switch, but maybe feeling a little bit forced off. I didn't notice that, but that morph core that ran away much earlier has got a little ninja base up here, but finally Elf's going to find it with a fiend. And these Kree, ooh, this does not look good. Okay, I was gonna say, are those those Kree going to deal with this fiend? We have one here using Evolution Catalyst to take care of the Luminite camp. While the rest of them trying to take out the speed camp, I should say. What do we have here? Fiends heading back home to do some special task, probably take out that collection array. While the rest of the army trying to take this speed camp. Yeah, we see this collection array now being focused by all those fiends. It's going to have to lift up or it's going to be lost. Yes, it's going to go down. And while we have units now moving up into the main base, we have Kree getting down on top of those Gaunts. Again, killing a couple free Gaunts. Always like to see that. But we have Hellborn on the low ground that are here to just send their siege damage down onto this creation chamber. While we have, interestingly, a Harbinger landed on the high ground that's there to provide vision for the high ground, as well as provide creep, which this effigy was put down on in a permanent status. And finally, it looks like this army is going to try and engage. We got creep moving up, engaging with the front line, and that's just a straight up GG, well played out of high right away. Let's go into game 2. And here we are in game 2 of this best of 3 between HYY or High in the blue Celestial and Elf in the red Infernal. And Elf taking that first map. We're now on Furious Resolve. We haven't seen this map yet today. And we've got a Scouting Skull going this way. We have a Scouting Hexen going this way. And we've got an Imp out on the map already. We've got a vault, sorry, over here. That's 2 vaults, actually. This Imp looks like going for a farm placement out here. Pretty standard for what we've seen out of Elf today. And this Arc ship has moved over here. Probably going for an Expo. Oh, we have a creation chamber already. Or, sorry, a collection array over here already. No creation chamber yet. And High looks like saving up those mins to... Oh, and another morph core popped out. So, gonna pop that down as soon as enough Luminite shows up. And meanwhile, Elf coming in and seeing a collection array and nothing else. Another collection array. And where's this arc ship? So she sees the collection array, does no further scouting. That might be all the information she needed, while her brute is showing up to meet her here for some creeping. And nice focus fire on the one with the infest, so more fiends can come out, as well as a nice micro to pull back the weak brute. Sometimes you're just going to sack your first brute on these slimes to get a couple more fiends. But there's also the benefit that this is a healing camp. So, well, I'm not as good as Elf, so I'll usually just soak my little brute in there for a bit. But I think Elf knows that this is... The faster she can get here and do some damage, the better. This creation chamber is not even done yet. And we've got fiends in the main on the collection array. Brutes on the creation chamber here, taking that out. And more brutes rallying in. So this creation chamber, unfortunately, it's on green power, but is an Argent... I don't even see an Argent queued. Wow, this creation chamber is going down as well as this collection array, I guess. And remember, there are 2 fiends in the main, taking that one down as well. We got a Sovereign's Watch finally, taking that out, and no Sovereign's Watch in the main. So Elf chooses to rotate, and the Skull of Shadow over here realizing this is where the actual base is, and we've got fiends on a power bank now, and we do have Sovereign's Watch going down over here. chasing them back, but there are 2 power banks over here that are free for the taking, and that collection array over here went down. We have now these fiends heading to this collection array, and brutes taking out the power banks. We're still on green power. We have a single Kree on the map, 2 Kree on the map now. And this Guardian Nexus does provide additional armor, I believe, to buildings over here. I'm not sure exactly what the radius is for it. But each celestial building has a special power that it grants to the other buildings in its radius. And I wish I knew more about that. But we're now in red power, which is definitely not good for our high. I think this early greedy plan is not going well. We're going to see, well, Elf's pulling back. This collection array lifted up. So what's the pullback about? Maybe not wanting to face the Sovereign's Watch while she fights this growing Kree number. Maybe deciding she's also done enough damage. Oh well, now turning to fight the Kree. And the Kree now deciding we're the ones that should be in the retreat. But now they have their roll up, which means they're a little bit more dangerous. They can roll around and do extra damage when they come out of their rollout form, or area of effect damage. And interestingly, we see Elf moving back to keep creeping, I guess. This is not a bad choice. I'm not sure exactly why she turned back, other than maybe concerned about more Sovereign's Watch and then maybe throwing the game. But she did some serious damage. She took out 1 collection array, made this one lift, which it's now back down, while also taking out a good number of power banks for pretty much no cost. She did lose a couple good fiends there in that nice Kree rollout, and now the Kree are again trying to get on top of the Hexen, and they might get the Hexen. They do get the Hexen, but at what cost? We see one Kree going down? No. Managing to get away. Maybe there were 4 there. Maybe 1 did go down. Those fiends, a couple fiends surviving. That fiends don't survive very long with Kree. And now they're heading out here to do some creeping. And these Kree rolling back home. Another Kree rolling, a couple Kree rolling across the map. Trying to take the vision camp, but there are Fellhogs there. I think the Kree saw that their first time around. So now they're just trying to take out that farm, which of course it's a utility farm, but it's still a farm, meaning it's going to do some damage to the supply. And if we watch here, yeah, now we find that Elf is supply blocked. He's got a new shrine going down. Another farm to replace that one brings her back into production range. And of course, putting down more farms, yeah. We're seeing a Hell Forge come out here. Ooh, and I didn't spot the tech just now, the Twilight Spiral, as we got some Spriggans. Actually, they're joining Spriggans that have already moved across the map. We have a Sovereign's Watch going down here that is killed 1 Spriggan, but Elf is sort of just sacking the Spriggans in there, trying to get the damage done. Probably because these Kree are trying to do a run-by in the main. And she's had to defend there. I didn't quite see that. I think there may have been a little bit more of an engage there, because it doesn't look like she has much of a ground army left. But these Spriggans that she created have come in. Of course, the Kree now getting harassed and chased around the map by these Spriggans. So regaining the map control, Elf is sending her Spriggans back out. She did manage to deal with the collection array that was over here. And these Kree, I think, saying, hey, my Spriggan harassers are out of the way. I'm going to go back into attack mode and heading down here to this base while the Spriggans are still trying to deal with that collection array, which will go down despite a Sovereign's Watch. And now we have Kree on top of some imps, but not necessarily focused fighting the imps, managing to get on top of these brutes instead. And trying to retreat, but with the Spriggans debuff on them, they are slowed down. We got a Purify going down, which purifies them of the debuff, but only for so long before the Spriggans get back on top of them, slowing them down, killing Kree after Kree. These Kree trying to retreat back to their base. And after that greedy initial prey out of High is forced back on 1 base, and these Spriggans are coming in. Although these Vectors are actually good anti-air, But I think you need a few more of them. In these numbers, the Spriggans, I think, are going to be able to handle them, and that's a GG. Good luck in the rest of the tournament from High.